Detroit Rock City gets the ultimate kiss. Lions land the NFL season opener against the Chiefs. Dave Birkett from the Detroit Free Press is here to talk about it. We appreciate him for making the time. Do they like being favorites? We'll ask him. And our good friend Rob, Stats Guerrera, swings by to chat about his Niners Week 13 and their NFC Championship game rematch. Plus, Hammer Time is back. Matt Hamilton breaks down when you're a Jet all the way. Aaron Rodgers, #1 target wideout Garrett Wilson, and how that chemistry might go. And away we last night. That was not on my bingo card for my May 10th. Now it's May 11th. Did you think I would sing West Side Story to you guys this morning? These aren't supposed to be drinking straws, right? These are stirring straws. But here's what cool people do in LA, okay? They wear their leather jackets to set, and then they take the two stirring straws, put them together to create one actual mega straw to not ruin your lipstick that you forgot at home. I just feel like an idiot doing it this way, but it's what must be done. We have a great show. We got information. We got juice. We got excitement. We've got more stuff. I'm not going to deal with the rumors, all right? There's more schedule news, hot off the presses. There's some leaks going on. I'm zipped up and buttoned up on those. We're not going to even talk about them. We're going to stick to what we know and be credible, the games that are officially confirmed. And we got some goodies for you guys. Let's do it. That includes the Monday night opener, when you're a Jet all the way. I love this. Monday night opener, Jets taking on the Bills. Both of these dudes were at the Derby. We got some up and Adam synergy there. An amazing suit by both of them are looking the best they've ever looked. This is going to be so fun. And it is our first morsel, our crumb, our first little taste of Aaron Rodgers as a Jet. And it comes under the bright lights of prime time up against Josh Allen at MetLife. This is the not first, not second, but third meeting between the two quarterbacks. Rodgers took the first meeting. That was back in 2018, forever ago. Allen and the Bills took the rematch last year when Aaron looked like a different man. He looked like a different human, okay? He had the long, scraggly hair. He was a little more, I was about to say Ozempic face, but that's not what I want to say. Like very sort of gaunt, sort of like, he looks better than ever, Marissa, as we've talked about a lot on this program. This is going to be one of the most exciting years we've seen in the AFC East, and it is starting off with a bang. We also, guys, got the NFL kickoff game. So it's the Chiefs, how about this, hosting the Lions to open up this season. What a statement for this Detroit team. They didn't have a single primetime game on their slate to open last season. They did, of course, end the season in primetime after getting flexed into that Week 18 big spot Sunday night game. They spoiled Aaron Rodgers. These are the most iconic moments of the entire season, right? And the Packers' chances, by the way, were spoiled of making the playoffs at Lambeau as Detroit took them down 20-16. Detroit ended their season winning 8 of their last 10 games. Dan Campbell in charge. He's got the reins, and we all are here for the experiment to see if the momentum can continue on opening night. So lots of excitement, and let's just do it. Let's bring in a guy who's seen it all, covering the Lions for the Detroit Free Press since 2010. He is a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, a 3-time Michigan Sports Writer of the Year. Dave Birkett, thanks for taking the time on such an exciting moment for the Lions.
Hey, Kay, how are you?
I'm so good. Not as good as you guys over there. Listen, I'm from Chicago, so we're still, who knows what's going on. But the expectations have changed in such a hurry in Detroit. What's the reaction to the Lions being in the NFL season opener?
I think there's a lot of excitement, and you're right. I mean, it says a lot about how far this organization and this team has come under Dan Campbell. I mean, obviously, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, that's a big part of the draw. The Lions wouldn't be playing in this game if not for them. But look, this is a team that had 0 primetime games last year on its initial schedule, obviously got flexed into the one in Week 18. You look at what they've done this offseason, they're one of the buzziest teams in the NFL right now. And it's a young roster. It's a coach in Dan Campbell who everyone wants to root for. It's a team, frankly, that everyone wants to root for because they've been beaten down for so long. So, for the Lions to be playing on one of the NFL's biggest stages against one of the NFL's best teams, it's a barometer game, and it says a lot about where they've come.
It really does. It's incredible taking on these Super Bowl defending champion Chiefs to open up this season. It's all really exciting. The numbers are a little weird, though. You've covered the team since 2010. They haven't won a season opener since 2017. The Chiefs haven't lost a season opener since 2014. Yeah. And then you're looking at just division wins. The Lions haven't been on top since 1993. They've won one playoff game in the entire Super Bowl era. Is it comfortable or uncomfortable being the favorite right now? What does that feel like, and do you prefer it?
It's different. I mean, I'm an expert on bad football. I've covered the Lions for, I think my first year before I was at the Free Press was 2008 when they went 0-16. So I've seen a whole lot of bad football in my days. And look, I've told a lot of people, I mean, friends or people in the industry or just people who ask about the Lions, like, I'm buying into what they're doing. And so I think they have some good people in the right places. They've started to put together a roster that, has some real momentum to it. Like you can look down the road in the future and say, okay, these pieces are going to be here for a while and they're going to be pretty good players. And so it definitely feels a little weird, but when you look at not only what the Lions are doing, but also the state of the NFC, right? I mean, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers being gone off the top, and the NFC North is wide open. This is for 3 decades, the Lions have played in a division with a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. That's no longer the case. And so the NFC is wide open. And so as maybe different as it feels to be the hunted, I think a lot of people believe that this is where the Lions belong.
I love it. And what a flex your background is. Geez, Dave.
Hey, it's a lovely day here in Michigan, so I got to be outside working when I can.
It's absolutely gorgeous. My God, and those lawns perfectly manicured. My goodness. We're waiting for the schedule to be released. It'll all be out, of course, tonight. We'll be breaking it down. You'll be super busy, and so we appreciate this time from you. We were going over, I'm hitting every team as anybody in sports media does in the offseason and just saying, here's my big question for every squad. And when it got to the Lions, it's just the defense. You talked about the roster, the rebuild, and you, even just you saying that you believe in what they're doing, I'm like, ooh, that means something, because you've seen the ins and outs of this team better than anybody. Their defense was terrible, objectively, 32nd in the entire league, bottom of the barrel. They made some moves to strengthen the unit. Do you think they did enough to answer that question?
Yeah, look, as I look at the NFC, it's still, and I think most people would agree that, the Eagles are the team to beat. I mean, the 49ers have a really good roster, pretty wide open after that. And a lot of it is going to depend, at least from the Lions standpoint, on how improved they are on that side of the ball. I think even though, maybe they have some questions on offense at receiver, specifically with Jamison Williams out for the first, 6 games of the season, maybe there are some holes there, but Ben Johnson is good enough and that offensive line is good enough that they're going to be able to score a lot of points. And so defensively, they have 3 new starting defensive backs. They draft a linebacker at 18 who's probably going to start for them, even though Aiden Hutchinson is back, James Houston is back. Maybe the area that I think people thought they needed to upgrade most, the interior pass rush, they didn't really do anything to help that. So I do think there are some questions there, but the way they played in the second half of the season, defensively, the amount of turnovers they got in some of the strides the young players made, I think the defense should be good enough when you pair it with that offense to win a lot of games this fall.
And I just love that the questions are not what they usually are when you look at teams that have faltered in the past or whatever the stock narrative is. It's always you look at the coach and you look at the quarterback. And Dan Campbell, that hire, he's come a long way from a bit of a jokey, similarly to Sirianni. What do you got? Like, who is this guy, this character, biting kneecaps and such? And the other glaring thing to me about this team is that my question is about the defense, and it's not about Jared Goff, who's entering his, another year in Detroit, and who's coming off such an incredible season. And there really seems to be a lot of confidence nationally and there in Detroit around a quarterback who does have a narrative of falling short, and I think that's really impressive and meaningful. I do.
No, look, I mean, this is year 3 for him. And, just like you said, objectively, the defense was pretty bad last year. I think Jared, the first year, maybe even year and a half that he was here, he was still finding his footing. And so, it's okay to question whether he is the guy and whether he can repeat what he did the second half of last year. But the one thing that he did really well down the stretch was take care of the ball. He went 324 straight passes to end the season without an interception. And so he has a chance to set the record, break Aaron Rodgers' mark probably in week 3 or 4 this year if he continues to play turnover-free football. So if he does that, then the Lions will be in a good spot.
I want to tell you, like, enjoy it, but you seem to be enjoying it with that blue sky and then your background there and that smile. Dave Birkett of the Detroit Free Press, we appreciate the time. We know it's a very busy time as the NFL has created a holiday out of thin air.
You got it, Kate. We'll talk to you again.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, another Chiefs game was revealed, and it was the second Christmas Day game. So the Chiefs hosting the Raiders in the early window. That game gets the slime time treatment. Weird. Very smart. I love Nickelodeon. I think they're so ahead of the game. They have 1 million Emmy nominations for this year for their work last year. Nate Burleson is such a star. Everyone is on that broadcast, so that'll be super fun to have Mahomes and all the fun things he does on the field get that treatment. And then it was, hold on, let's see. What did I just miss? Okay. Okay, so hold on. I'm a little behind here. So it's Dallas, San Francisco. There we go. They're hosting the Cowboys in week 5. It's a rematch of last year's divisional round. Oh, this is beautiful. This is a classic rivalry, right? We love to see a little classic action. Have a lot of juice to it. Yet again, interesting, no quarterback picture. It's interesting there. Then we've got, okay, all right, we got this too. And then there's the rematch the Niners fans have been waiting for. San Fran headed to Philly in week 13, hopefully with a healthy quarterback this time to take on the Eagles. So we've got a special guest joining us to break it all down from the Gold Standard Podcast Network, our friend, our entrepreneur, our Niners savant, and third-round draft pick of a kicker backer, Rob Stats Guerrera. How are you?
Why do you have to start the interview like that, Kay? That was mean.
What do you mean? You like that they took him in the 3rd round? I love that you do.
I had no problem with it. They needed a kicker, and, I hope it works out, and I think people just needed to calm down a little bit like that. That's all.
What do you say about the kicker position?
Kickers score points. Kickers lead your team in scoring every week. Kickers are like lawyers. Everybody hates them until you need one. And then when you need one, you want the best one that there is.
And that's why we love you. I just want to get that little bite out of you. You guys can hear those nuggets on his podcast. But let's talk about the Niners here and the placement of this Niners-Eagles rematch. Would you have rather gotten it out of the way early, or do you like it being late in the season?
I like it being later in the season because it's just going to mean more. I mean, it'll still be a factor in the seeding if they had played it early, but week 13, we're going to know, hey, look at these records. These two teams are battling it out for the number 1 seed and that all-important bye in the playoffs. So I like it later in the season. The games always mean more later in the year. And I don't care who the quarterback is. I'm going to be excited no matter what.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since the Cowboys and the Niners have been good. Both good at the same time. And, they've now met in the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, and then they get the Sunday night game, and that's week 5. Is it fair to say that the classic rivalry is back, even though the Niners have won every game that matters?
I feel like it has to be at this point. When you have a team and another team's season 2 years in a row, that stings. That leaves an effect. When the importance and the rivalry carries over not just to the fan base, but also to the players, that's when it really steps up a notch. And that's where I think the Cowboys and the 49ers are. I mean, before the playoff game last year, Dak said, we want the Niners. And of course, didn't really work out too great for them when they actually did get the Niners. Want to remind everybody, but clearly the players care about this, and so yeah, I do think it's back.
We need a little something in the NFC, please. Like, so give me something to hold on to in that conference. I saw that Kyle Shanahan said this week that Brock Purdy looking pretty good.
Yes. Kyle said last night at a charity event that Brock Purdy hasn't had any setbacks, that everything's going according to plan, that he's performing the same drills at OTAs that Trey Lance and Sam Darnold are performing, except Brock is doing them with a towel because he can't do it with a football yet. So I guess that's good. But they're selling you the line that everything is going to be on track, and that Kyle said if Brock doesn't have any setbacks, that he'll be there at training camp.
Now, you're way more plugged into the everyday of the Niners. I did see a national guy, Ian Rappaport, sort of say that Darnold's ahead of Lance on the depth chart. You and I have talked about this ad nauseum. I know you're a Trey backer. They're not going to trade Trey. That doesn't make any sense, especially after June 1st. I understand all of that. But your thoughts on Ian's report and then the backlash apparently from within the building that he was hearing about that?
Yeah, I'm skeptical about the backlash, because the first time Ian said that Darnold was going to be QB1 was March 28th at the league meetings, and the 49ers didn't push back then. Then Rappaport's the one that had the story about the 49ers taking calls on Trey Lance, which obviously came from the 49ers, because who else would leak that story? And then Rappaport said again at the draft on April 29th that Darnold was going to be QB1 while Brock was out, and we didn't get any pushback then. So all of a sudden now, after the draft, supposedly he got pushed back. I think it was more, hey, Trey Lance is still on the roster now. We're not trading him. So now we got to try and talk him up. And I think Ian kind of, took the hit on that one. And he kind of looks like he's got egg on his face. And I don't think it was his fault at all.
And I mean, but they shouldn't get rid of Trey Lance, right? Because they need him. They need him to be healthy. If he can be effective and all of that. I do want to just take a minute and say, let's not just throw Sam Darnold aside. I mean, you might completely disagree with me.
No, we can.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me that. He is, how old is he? He's 25 years old, okay? He was 4-2 as a starter last year at Carolina. I think, outside of DJ Moore, he hasn't had a ton of talent at wide receiver. He's had a revolving door of pieces and coaching around him. And now he's in the best situation possible. You can't tell me with what we saw with Geno Smith and what he's doing in Seattle that we can just cast aside Sam Darnold. I don't believe that.
I absolutely believe that. We've seen 56 games of bad from Sam Darnold, and this magical 6 games that everybody keeps talking about at the end of the year. One of those games he threw for 43 yards with no touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
So he doesn't have talent. He doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't have a skill set. He's not young and healthy. No, okay.
I just think it's really interesting that, the coaches that Sam Darnold has played with and the schemes didn't throw all those interceptions. Sam Darnold threw those interceptions. Sam Darnold has 90 combined fumbles and interceptions in 56 career games. That's not scheme, and that's not coaches, okay? He did those things. And as for the weapons, Christian McCaffrey's a pretty good player, right? He gets him in San Francisco. He had him in Carolina for some of the time he was there. He had DJ Moore, who's a good player. How many excuses do we have to make for Sam Darnold before we say he's just not very good? He's not very good. If he was picked in the 4th round instead of 3rd overall, he would never be in any discussion for a starting job. But because somebody thought he was good in 2018, he's still here.
He's 25.
Yeah, and?
He's 25. We don't know. Do not write the book on someone. But let's please, social media, Taylor, clip this right here. Let's hold on to it when inevitably, in the craziness of the Melrose Place vibe of quarterbacks when it comes to San Francisco 49ers, Sam Darnold gets trotted out there, has great chemistry with his boy Christian McCaffrey, weapons, stability at coaching, talent, athleticism, and the hell of an arm that it all comes together, apparently, Brock Purdy style. You don't even like Brock Purdy, so you and I can't talk about quarterbacks. Instead, we can talk about the schedule and this hoopla that the NFL has drummed up about how we should all care and be celebrating and the bank should be closed for the next 24 hours. I'm making some bold predictions on who's getting a lot of primetime love and who's not or whatever. Do you have any predictions about this Niners squad when it comes to the schedule?
Yes, I think first of all, the Niners are going to have the maximum amount of primetime games, which I believe is 6. And I think they're going to open on the road this year. If I had to guess, I would probably say the Steelers. Niners-Steelers is a great marquee matchup between 2 big-name franchises. So if I had to make a prediction, I'll go full boat of primetime games, and they'll be in Pittsburgh week 1 to face Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. That's
a great prediction. We love it. Stats, we can listen to you and your takes and all the information with what's going on in the powerhouse of the NFC. It's theirs for the taking. A huge storyline. It's the Gold Standard Podcast Network, and it's, of course, not just Niners. Stats has the entire league covered and comparing quarterbacks or kickers to lawyers like only you can. So appreciate you, Stats. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay.
I just defended Sam Darnold, also something I didn't have on my bingo board for today. Next up, it's hammer time. Matthew Hamilton dives deep into tape on the Jets wide receiver, Garrett Wilson. We heard from Randall Cobb on our show about him, and now Hammer went to the tape. New York, New York. Let's see what you got. What you got? 4-time MVP. That looks like a nice little connection there. Whenever we see a star quarterback change teams, we always want to break down what we think will happen and who on that roster will benefit the most. So, oh God, what's this music going to be? Let's bring in Hamilton for another hammer tone.
What's up, Kat?
Listen.
Are you ready?
You're wearing a shirt that looks like
I am.
my grandmother's wallpaper.
My mom got it for me.
Oh, I love your mom!
Okay.
You should have told me that! I love
Mom.
your mom. And your mom's watching because she's the best. Listen, You're the best at looking at tape, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, really at everything. And, you know, the schedule release is happening. It's your favorite holiday in the entire world. And we're all very excited about it. But Aaron Rodgers going to New York, I can sing all the West Side Story music, I can whatever. But I really want to know, do you think this Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson connection can translate and really make waves in a crowded AFC?
I really do, and it's kind of scary to think about, right? Because even with the 1,100 yards last year, even with the Offensive Rookie of the Year, there were so many plays left on the field because of the Jets' instability at quarterback. So I want to dig into a few of those moments right now and show you why Rodgers, I think, these are throws that Rodgers is going to make. And here he is. This is a play. Jets fans are tweeting about this at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday in May because they're so haunted by it. Here's Garrett Wilson running a go, and watch what he does to potential future Hall of Famer Patrick Peterson. Just absolutely breaks him off. This is the high level of route running that we saw from him all year. And if Mike White is able to complete this throw, it's about an 80-yard touchdown that we're going to see here because that single high safety is caught in the middle of the field. But the throw sails on Mike White. It's going to fall incomplete. You see the frustration from Garrett. This is just such a huge missed opportunity, and it was a theme that we saw all year long. Here it is with Zach Wilson at quarterback up against the Steelers. We're going to see deep crosses here from Jeff Smith and Garrett Wilson. The Steelers are playing man, so you just have to kind of diagnose this. And Zach Wilson's eyes are in the right place. He's looking right at this. Two Steelers defenders collide. That's going to open things up for Garrett Wilson, especially once Smith lifts the coverage. I mean, look at this. That window is right there. And if he gets this ball to Garrett Wilson, it's at least a third down conversion, maybe even a touchdown. Instead, he forces it to Jeff Smith, and it's intercepted. And as I said, this showed up on tape time and time again. And Garrett Wilson still at 1,100 yards. So imagine if these opportunities are capitalized on, what he's going to be able to do.
Well, we were just talking about Sam Darnold, right? And we were just talking about, you know, DJ Moore being this receiver who sometimes somehow is able to put up 1,000 yards when he doesn't have great quarterback play. And you think of the DJ Moores, you think of the Devontae Adams of the world when it comes to completion percentage. We cracked the numbers. Garrett Wilson had the third lowest completion percentage when targeted out of the 39 players who saw at least 100 targets this season. Only Moore and only Devontae Adams had a lower clip last year. So if they can capitalize on some of those, and we know that they can with Aaron Rodgers, some stability there even at quarterback, what is the limit for Garrett Wilson? It's kind of fun and scary.
It really is. And just to cap this off, I want to show you just a little taste, a little reminder of what he does when you get him the ball. Because it's not just about the route running. It's not just about the downfield stuff. Watch this. This is Mike White against the Bears. He's going to drill this into the window, and then watch what Garrett Wilson's able to do after the catch, too. Look at this move. I mean, that's a Barry Sanders level juke right there, and he's off into the end zone. So crispy that's a good word for it. That's as good as it gets after the catch. So he really is a complete receiver. He does everything you want downfield with the ball in his hands, and with Rodgers back there, it's going to be so much fun to watch this year. So, I really think we could see him put up 1,500 yards. He only scored 4 touchdowns last year. I think we see him double that.
Whoa!
At least.
Are we talking like top 5 wide receiver off the fantasy list?
I think so. I'm big on him this year. I really think so.
Me too. And let's look at the schedule, right? Because you're a schedule guy, and that's what we do here. It's your favorite thing. Listen, here's the cornerback matchups, and he's got some wild ones. He's facing 10 former All-Pros, including 2 doses of Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, and Trey Wright, of course. 10 former Pro Bowlers, a Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champion Stephon Gilmore, a bunch of recent first-round picks, right? You got Stingley, you got Gonzalez, you got McDuffie. Woo! Woo, that's tough sledding. But if Garrett can show out against these guys, this caliber, he's got a chance to move into that top tier, no discussion, right? He'll be talked about with the Jeffersons, the Chases, the Devontaes, like he kind of already is, honestly, this offseason.
For sure, and I think he's going to embrace the challenge. You saw him against some top cornerback talent last year, and he held his own. Again, they couldn't always get him the ball, but I saw him winning off the line of scrimmage pretty frequently. So I think he's still going to get his numbers, even with that tough group he's going to be up against this year.
I'm wondering if Jets fans watching this are like, "Don't show me this footage," or if they're excited about what's to come, because it's sort of a trauma thing, and then it's also optimism, which they don't handle super well. So it's very interesting. We'd love to hear from the Jets fans on this. And let's not forget, we're talking about these corners. Garrett Wilson gets to practice against one of the best young ones in the entire league in Sauce as well. Hamilton, great hammer time by you, terrible dancing by me. And shout out to Hamilton's mom, who I love. You set me up for failure on that one. Coming up, we're going to dig into some unanswered questions facing the NFC South. Biggest questions? Let us know at Up and Adam Show. Time to dig into some unanswered questions. We're going division by division. We hit the NFC North. Today it's time for the NFC South. Now, this division has taken some dings, taken some lumps, taken some hits, but it's also very intriguing because I really do think it's anybody's game. Any one of these four teams has a legit shot of taking it home. And guess who else thinks so? FanDuel Sportsbook, who I'm in a fight with after my stupid parlay yesterday. Okay, the Saints are the favorites right now after picking up Derek Carr, right? But all these teams have, plus money. They've got realistic odds here. So I wanted to start with the top, the defending champions. And it's like, who won the division? Oh, yeah, Tampa Bay did, right? And I love Tampa. And I know that Tom Brady isn't there, but there's just something, really special about being able to sort of watch them sort of rebuild and figure it out.
What's the question?
Did you get to the question?
Oh, God. This is such awesome. I have Brian, who's the nicest producer ever. I'm telling him to yell at me. Could you guys yell at me a little earlier next time? That would be great. Could you just interject a little quicker? Thank you. I appreciate it. Yell at me! What is that thing? Is that a device of some sort? What is that on the table?
Get to the question.
Okay. Here's the question that I have for the Buccaneers. My question is, who's the boss? Who is in charge here? Is your mom home? Is your dad home? Can I talk to somebody? No Tom Brady, no Fournette. Devin White's demanding a trade. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're coming off tough years, and they have a new offensive coordinator. So this team might be completely unrecognizable in some ways, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing, everybody. The Bucs have paired Baker Mayfield with one of the best receiver duos in the league. And if you want to talk about second acts, his offensive coordinator was the quarterback coach in Seattle during Geno's resurgence last year. We love people rewriting their narratives. We love somebody being counted out and then showing you what they're made of and digging deep. Tampa also did a little reconfiguration of their offensive line. They want to get the run game going. And they may be down a playoff Lenny, but White, he's been getting rave reviews if you're really paying attention to what the organization is saying. And, he backed up the hype by passing, they did, on every running back in the draft. They didn't grab one at all, and that says a lot. So, while of course you want to figure things out, please, with Devin, please figure it out with Devin White. And you do have a cornerstone of the defense for years to come, then there are interesting things happening there. The creamsicles are not the only thing making a comeback in Tampa. Light already made comparisons between his rookie D-tackle and Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, okay? So lofty expectations to put on him, but watching with Vita Vea should be pretty fun, and I know this all sounds well and good, but we still have no idea what this team is going to look like on the field. I am just saying, Baker, White, Kancey, they're all going to be able to take charge, and so do not count Tampa out in the South just yet. What are you doing over there, Eric? Eric's literally practicing pitches right now. Next, let's get into Atlanta. And by the way, congrats to Donald Glover on winning a Peabody Award for his show.
What's the question?
That was high. Try to hit me, Eric. All right, let's talk about the Falcons. And my question for them is this. Is Arthur Smith a mad scientist, or is he just mad? The Falcons head coach, he's had I don't know are you guys paying attention to this, a pretty unconventional couple of weeks. He drafts a running back in Bijan Robinson, 8th overall, and he also, has the Titans' first-round pick, Peter Skoronski, put him on blast for allegedly calling him boring during his pre-draft interview. Did you guys hear this? Isn't that crazy? Is this all a sign of some against the grain wild genius, or is Arthur Smith like losing his marbles a little bit? The jury is still out, but I have to say right now I'm leaning more towards the genius tip of the scale here, because when I look at, what he's starting to do in Atlanta and what he did last year, it's hard to not be impressed, right? He inherits a total mess when he takes over the job. He has to transition away from a former MVP from 2016 and Matt Ryan, 2016, 2017, 2016, I think, dealing with the whole Calvin Ridley situation. That was dramatic and not expected. And a roster in a hellacious turnover, let's just call it what it is. He found a way, though, to keep this team relevant late into the year. That's what the calling card for a good coach is. Keep them playing for you. And he did it by going against the grain, by being a little mad scientist-y. He leaned into the run game hard, leading the league in rushing attempts and having the offense finish 15th in scoring despite having the 31st ranked pass defense. I always appreciate coaches who find the way out of making the most out of a mess that they have. And Smith did that last year. They won 7 games with a completely unsettled quarterback group and a bottom 10 defense. And now you add a spark plug in Bijan Robinson into the mix. You've got freakish athletes like Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Twitter roasted me because I said, wow, I can't wait to see what happens when you have Kyle Pitts and Bijan. That's really effective. That might be great. It was, who's throwing the ball? Who's whatever. Their defense is always the question. They overhauled, guys. Jesse Bates is in the building. Calais Campbell's in the building. A veteran, a leader, that's all going to work and make happen. So things are looking pretty spicy. So much of this does hinge on Desmond Ridder. But if he can just take care of the ball, if he can throw the ball a little better than Eric, who just did a miserable job of tossing a paper ball at me, just like a little better than Eric will suffice, okay? If he can just manage the game, I think the team can be really dangerous with what Arthur has cooking down there. Go ahead. That didn't even make, okay, that's a little better, a little bigger. That was good, okay, it's right here. Next up, did you know, let's talk about the Panthers, guys. And I want to talk about the Panthers, who we obviously had Stats on. And Stats was saying, Sam Darnold, not there anymore. Christian McCaffrey, not there anymore.
Get to
blah,
the
blah,
question.
Blah, blah.
Let's go, Kate. Come on.
I'm waiting for Marissa to come and just punch me in the face. That's what I'm waiting for. All right, let's get to the Panthers and their question.
What is it?
I don't know, I'm looking for it. Hold on, what did I have here? Okay, the Panthers, my question for them. Oh, this is it. Can the defense play up to its talent? I have been talking about this. I always say, young, feisty. If you took a shot of something every time I talked about the young, feisty defense of the Panthers, you'd be wasted by 6 in the morning if you started at 5:30 in the morning, okay? I know the offense is amok. I know that it's in transition, but an offensive guru like Frank Reich, he'll be able to get enough out of them to at least be competitive, and Bryce Young being there, they'll be fine if and only if the defense can actually play to its potential. Listen, I've been tantalized by this thing for years. They have 4 first-round picks out there. J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, I love them. They're so freaking talented. Another 3 second-rounders, including the talented and versatile Jeremy Chin. This group has the potential to be so special, but for whatever reason, they have not been able to find consistency, okay? 2021, this was the number 2 defense in the NFL. Nobody was paying attention to them because the offense was a mess, but it looked like the young squad was turning a corner. And then last year, somehow, how do you go from number 2 to 22? And listen, I know everything works hand in hand. It's hard to play defense, and you're always on the field, blah, 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 bad field position because offense can't get out of their own way. But still, the defense, with all of its talent, has a chance to be one of the best in the NFL. And if this offense is mediocre, like Eric's throwing skills, and their new defensive coordinator can help unlock some of that potential, I do think we might see the Panthers finally take shape. And that's why they are in the mix to literally take the division. All right, and I saved the best for last year, the new favorites in the division. The favorites are the New Orleans Saints. People were tweeting me yesterday, talk about the Saints.
Get to the question.
And I'm a Saints girl, and I want to be there. And I think we should...
Get to the question.
Finish him. What was that? Who installed a microphone on this desk over here?
It's my favorite thing.
Marissa, tell me about this.
It wasn't me. I just showed up and it was there. I swear.
But look, I just want Brian to speak into this with his great booming voice.
Ryan, say something really mean. Finish him.
Get to the damn question, woman.
Something like that. Is that what you had in mind?
Oh my God, yeah, that was it. Okay, let's do it. Let's get to the question on the Saints. It is simply, can you maybe not get injured? Can you finally not get injured? The last 2 seasons have been unlike anything I've ever seen a team go through. Last year, they suffered the 4th most injuries in the league, and it was the guys that are really important, like the Marshawn Lattimores, Michael Thomas, left tackle Trevor Penning. We don't even know what he's like out there on the field. Key pieces on the team, and that doesn't even include Alvin Kamara, who only missed 2 games, who was clearly playing through something most of the year if you were watching. And this comes after 2021, where the Saints set an NFL record by starting 58 different players through the course of the season because of injuries. It's been one of, and I don't know why more people nationally don't talk about this. This is one of the worst stretches of injury luck in the NFL, in NFL history, okay? So if that luck evens out, and we see this man on the field, remember this? It was so long ago. If he looks like this the way he started last year, Olave on the other side, Derek Carr running the show, Marshawn Lattimore locking up every opposing number 1 wide receiver, and Cam Jordan living in the backfield for a full 17 or close to that. I don't really care about any of the stuff that I said earlier in the segment about any other team in the division. If they can stay healthy, especially those guys I mentioned, this division runs through New Orleans. They are the favorite. It's nobody's ball game. There we go. Let's see the odds again. FanDuel Sportsbook, because that's everybody's ball game right now. They're all positive odds. We get it. I'm learning about odds as we go. But yeah, I think the Saints are the favorite, and they should be looking good. Health is the issue. All right, after this, how about the Lions playing in the NFL season opener against the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs? Amazing. Want a bold prediction for schedule release? I got you. Nailed out. They feel good. National holiday, banks are closed, schools are closed. Everybody's at home looking at their TVs. The schedule is released for the NFL, so we thought we could give a few predictions on how I think things will turn out. One big question everyone's always wondering, how many primetime games will the Jets have after the Rodgers trade? So my stab, now that I'm looking at it, it's a low stab. I had 5. I think 5. We already know they're playing Monday night opener against the Bills and the Black Friday game against the Dolphins, which, by the way, 5 is good because the Friday game doesn't count as a primetime game. So I think it's that game plus 5. But I think the Giants game definitely is one. The Chiefs' first meeting between Rodgers and Mahomes, which we've been robbed of, that has to be. The Cowboys, because Dallas. And then I think either Marissa's Eagles or Jets Patriots, division rivalry, Belichick, Aaron Rodgers, that becomes one as well. So I'm gonna say 5 plus the Friday Amazon game. So that's 6. It's a lot of love for a Jet squad, but I think that sounds about right. Okay, my next prediction. People are wondering about when the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl rematch at Arrowhead will happen. I'm gonna say early, week 2. Okay? I would have wanted it week 1 to open the season, but I'm happy for the Lions and the Chiefs and company. Since the NFL already announced that, I think this is the next best thing. I want to start off the season with a bang and get one of the best games out of the way early, get excited. And I think it kind of could lose some juice if you put it later because more narratives sort of take hold. This is a beautiful narrative from last year. Keep it fresh. You want the Eagles to go in there with this thing out for revenge, right? Not other stuff pulling them apart or injuries happening. Don't make me wait for this is what I'm saying. Okay, finally, I want to throw out just a bold prediction, just something I was thinking about looking at some of the teams and who's talking about what. We're seeing the Lions get all this love. They're opening the season against the Chiefs. I think sneaky team, the Jags. They will get a Sunday nighter and a Monday nighter this year, okay? Why is that bold? Well, because the Jags have not had a Sunday night game since 2008 or a Monday nighter since 2011. It has been forever, but I think it's a little one part Trevor Lawrence effect, one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the second half of the season. I think we see him and this team get rewarded in a big way. Jags played the Bengals. Come on, is this not a primetime Sunday night, Monday night situation? Trevor up against Burrow for sure. And then I think the other one is like a divisional situation, either against or like a rematch against the Chiefs in Jacksonville, something like that. A showdown against Lamar and the Ravens. You know, remember the wild comeback the Jags made last year that sort of shifted the entire season and turned it around, so I like that. Those are my 3 predictions. And another quick one I will put in there, and these social media teams are all gonna crush it. They're all gonna come in first place. But the Cowboys, they're going big. Cowboys are going big. They're going Hollywood. They're going out west. They're doing, you know, they're really doing the most, okay? They're going big, bad Cowboy hats all around. Those are my predictions for the schedule release. So 5 games, 5 prime time. We should put like plus the Amazon. 5 seems low, Marissa. Does 5 seem low? You don't think so? Ooh, those are my predictions. What are yours? Hit us up at Up and Adams Show, and we will be back with a draft of celebrities. We'll be back. We'll explain. Woo woo!
They were at the Derby together. We just got back from the Derby. F1 was this weekend. We went to the draft.
Bakhtiari boys.
I know. But, you know, these events are they're only as good as the people you roll with. So I wanted to ask a question to you in Hamilton. Who would you draft in your dream suite? If you got to pick, who would you roll with to one of these events? Can we bring in Hamilton?
Where am I looking? Is there a big board?
There will be a big board.
All right, let's take a look. Hamilton is here too. We're going to have a draft off. Marissa is hosting. Show me the big board.
Here we go. So here's some random options that we put together. We got Shaq on there. We got Michael Cera, King Charles III, I believe, Ice Spice. We've got some good ones on there, but I know you can go off the board if you want to.
Pedro Pascal.
I know. So we're going to go back and forth. Kay, you're going to start. You get the first draft choice because you so graciously snuck me into the turf club.
I did sneak you into the turf terrace.
Kay always gets the first pick in these.
All right, shut up,
whatever.
Hammer. Listen, I'm not going to snag Ice Spice from you. Don't you worry. I'm going to go. Listen, if I'm in any sort of a sweet experience, I'm rolling to F1, I'm rolling to I just want calm, cool, low-key people that get all the nicest stuff and get treated like amazing but aren't obnoxious. And I'm going to grow my number 1 pick. I thought about George Clooney. Great call. I thought about Ryan Reynolds. Great
Just
call.
make the pick.
Adam Sandler. Case closed. Adam Sandler sets the tone for exactly what I want at any experience in my life. Adam Sandler.
It's a good
Go.
pick.
Yeah.
Hamilton, you're up.
With my first pick, I am not going to pick my mom, although she did weigh in and let us know that you pretty much ruined her Mother's Day weekend.
I hate you. Good pick. Why is your mom buying you clothes? You're 36.
Oh, there you go. Wallpaper, she hurt my feelings on Mother's Day weekend. Does that mean I can't buy you any clothes? So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Kay. I'm going to go Jim Nantz with my first pick. I want to learn somebody that has some reverence for whatever event we're at. He's going to be my first pick.
Wow, that is not, I love Jim Nantz. I don't know about that. Okay, so Adam, so fine, that's great. He's up the board. I will go Robert Downey Jr. with my second pick. Hilarious, great charm, charisma, also super low-key. Back to you.
I'm going pure chaos. I got my Jim Nantz in. Let's go Aubrey Plaza. Someone who will have no respect for the event and just cause chaos. Let's go.
You don't even show up to the event. You fly home a day early. Like, why are we pretending? You just got out of Marissa. Okay, I'm gonna double back and I will go, no, I'm switching out him. Okay, got it. I'm gonna go, before you snag her for me, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Just because we granted, it's a little counterintuitive because I would be nervous around her, but she's got to be the best hang ever. So I'm going to go Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
That's true. I'm going to go Drake. Got to get somebody that the athletes are going to want to come over to, hang out with. They're not going to want to do that with me, but if they see Drake, they'll come over and say hi. So
that's why I have Sandler and Robert Downey. Every athlete wants to hang out with them, which is great. I'm going to double down now, not chaos, but just vibe, immaculate vibes. I would do anything to meet her, Dolly Parton.
I respect it.
That's a good group.
That's a vibe. That's definitely a vibe.
There's no pew-pew back at me. That's a vibe. Go.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
She's
that's
the best.
That's a hard one to argue with.
I'm obsessed with her. Yes, she's the best.
With my 4th pick, I am going Larry David. I have to give him a chance to make up for tripping Shaq. He'll be a great time. I just want to hear his observations all game long and the things that he latches on to. So he'll be a good time.
If you say so. That's a wild group you have there. A wild group. Now for my last pick, I was going to do Celine Dion to throw chaos, right? Like I need someone chaotic. Celine Dion would be hilarious, like in that group. But then I thought, man, if I were to pick where I could go, I would go straight to a sports event that's better than any concert, than anything. I'd go to a Bengals game, and so I'd go with somebody who I found out last year at Wimbledon is the biggest fan of Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I'm going Seal. Seal for the win. Roll the tape!
Wow.
Joe, Seal reporting from Wimbledon. I just wanted to tell you I'm a huge fan. Loved you when you were at LSU.
Great.
Thank you, brother. Loved what you did in the national championship. Loved what you have done in Cincinnati. I was rooting for you in the Super Bowl, despite the fact I live in Los Angeles. But I think you're the real deal. I think you are the one, and you are enough to make me change my allegiance from the Patriots to actually root for Cincinnati, because actually I'm a Joe Burrows fan. So go Joe Cool.
That was pretty cool.
I had that video
was pretty
and was
cool.
like, I've never posted this.
You've been saving it just for this occasion. But I have some. I'm going to do you one better right now, because if I learned anything from the internet, there is one thing out there that may be able to trump Kay Adams.
Oh, God. Ice Spice.
Ice Spice.
I get it.
We're going Ice
Fine.
Spice.
You're going Ice Spice. Ice Spice. Okay, so let's review our, Marissa, help me out. Let's review our picks.
I think we got the recap screens let's see Kay's first. Adam Sandler, Seal, Robert Downey Jr., Dolly Parton, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That's a pretty stacked squad.
Immaculate vibes.
That's a
low
good
key.
one.
They're eating caviar
Solid.
and nobody knows that they're even there. They're sneaking in and out and nobody has to dress up. And then you got Dolly. Dolly trumps your whole list.
Let's see Hamilton's.
You know, you might fall asleep in the middle of the game.
Jim
This
Nance,
is a
Yeah, you
squad
can
right
fall
here.
asleep on
This
Larry
is pure
David's shoulder.
chaos.
Drake, Larry
This is
David, and
pure
Ice Spice.
chaos.
This is full of hypebeasts who are taking Instagrams like with the field as the background. That's what I'm getting from this squad.
This would be the most awkward dinner party of all time. These people with Hamilton in the middle.
And I'm here for it.
Who's the connector?
Exactly what I want.
Put up your thing. Who's middling? To the parlance of Larry David. Who's middling here?
Me.
Drake? You?
I'm the glue. I'm
No,
the
Jim
glue that
Nance.
holds all this together.
Jim Nance. So,
Yeah, or Jim.
So Ice Spice. Tell me about spice and ice. All right, goodbye, Hamilton. Love ya. We're back tomorrow. Hey, we're here for schedule release. Hamilton's favorite thing. I'm gonna have a whole
wait.
show about your mom tomorrow.